Well, hello, sports fans. It's Larry Eater with RunBlogRun, and we're Stuart Weir, and this is Athletics Chat numero 3. And Stuart's somewhere in Wisconsin. You're right outside of London, aren't you, Stuart?
I'm in Oxford, an hour from London.
Wow, you're even more thoughtful. You know, I fell asleep on the train and was woken up by some young students who were worried about me. I was supposed to be going to Birmingham, and I think I missed the train or something. I just flown in, and they were very nice in Oxford, and they told me what to do, and I did it, and I got to Birmingham. So I would like to spend some time in Oxford sometime. But greetings and salutations. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. The sun is shining.
Yeah, well, that's important. Yeah, the sun is shining. I'm in my backyard, so you'll hear my mother has had 8 different sets of chimes in the backyard. And we've been having a bit of wind in lovely San Jose, besides protest and a curfew for the first time in the 45 years I've been here. The curfew starts at 8:30 at night and goes till 5 in the morning. There's been protests about 12 blocks from our house. So it's rather unearthly quiet at night here now. But that'll be going on, I think, for the next week. Thank you for your pieces on Joe Coates. I have posted the first one, and I will be doing 2, 3, and 4 over the next few days. And she seems like a very interesting person, and maybe perhaps a different approach than what's been in charge of UK athletics before, but I think they need something new at this time. Are they just getting pummeled by the British media right now?
To start with, I am impressed with Jo, and I was impressed that she was willing to give 30 minutes to talk just to me. Mm-hmm. I think it's a very difficult time for newspapers at the moment because there's no sport. So everyone is either writing historical stuff or looking for any kind of political stuff. So therefore, there's more of that going on. Mm-hmm. And sadly, we have far less real athletics, track and field writers than we've ever had.
Sure.
And so therefore you have the general sports correspondent who may not know a great deal about track and field and who may not have been to any events in the last year, but writes pieces as if he's the world's leading expert.
Yeah, we have that over here. James Dunaway, the late editor of American Track and Field, one of our big stalwarts, used to go a little nutty every 4 years when he, as he called them, the Olympic beat folks would show up who had not been to a track meet and would show up at the trials and write these stories always, which are about drugs or, that kind of stuff. And it would get frustrating, and I understand it. I think it's going to be, I'm very curious just to see what's going to go on. Hugh Brazier this last week, the executive race director at the Virgin Money London Marathon, said that there's a big chance they're not going to be doing the event. He wouldn't come out and say he's canceling it yet. What's your take on that? Have you heard anything new?
Well, I'm not remotely surprised to hear that, because at the moment we have in the program the GB trials. Mm-hmm. Can I explain to you how the GB trials operate? You see,
please.
People who win that get selected for the championship. Oh, okay. Sorry, there is no championship this year. So yes. I mean, we did have our indoor trials, and all the top athletes opted out of it because there was no World Indoors to go for. Mm-hmm. So while we've still got the outdoor championship and trials in the program, it's a pointless exercise. Yeah. There's nothing to go for. And there's no European Championships, there's no Olympics. We've still got the Gateshead Diamond League in the program, but Joe Coates told me that will not take place without spectators, and there's no chance of there being any spectators.
So that's a question I have for you. On BBC World Service last night, what I was listening to as I was posting, they said something rather innocuous. It was about Formula One auto racing, your Division I football,
Yeah.
and one other sport. I think it was tennis. And they said that the government was going to say, you guys don't have to follow the rules for COVID if you show that you're putting COVID safe practices in place.
Mm.
And the impression I got is they were going to open these guys up to allow them to have fans there.
No.
Okay.
No fans. We mentioned last week that if you were to come to England now, you would be required to quarantine for 14 days.
Yes.
So what they're saying is, for these sports that you mentioned, particularly the Formula One auto racing, they're saying the drivers can come in, race, and then leave.
Okay.
They're not be required to come in 14 days early and wait, because otherwise that wouldn't be feasible. There is a tennis tournament, but as far as I know, that is only for British tennis, because it's Andy Murray and his brother who are organising that just for a bit of fun. But you see, the Premier League football or soccer, which has a TV contract worth $4 million a year, spectators probably make up 5 to 10% of their income.
Okay.
So therefore, if they go ahead, as they are going to, with games with no spectators, they lose 5 to 10% of their income. The problem with the Diamond League is that most of the income comes from paying spectators and adverts, commercial sponsorship. And the commercial sponsors aren't that interested if there's going to be no spectators. So therefore, that isn't feasible. But I mean, basically, the Premier League soccer have got 8 rounds of games to go, and they're going to do that starting in the middle of June until perhaps the end of July with no spectators. But all the games will be on live television, and all the games will be at different times, so that if you have nothing else to do, you can watch all 92 live.
Wow.
But the Premier League are also saying that their next season, which would last from approximately September to next May well be without spectators. So if they're saying they can't have any spectators, I mean, what kind of marathon could you have? You could have 50 to 100 elite runners running, but you're not allowed to have spectators. And how do you stop spectators when there's just the roads? And again, we talked about this last week. How attractive is that to television?
That's what I don't know.
We normally do the 6-hour coverage, and as we said last week again, that if you stand on Tower Bridge, people pass you for about 4 hours. And it's a completely different event if it's just an elite race. So again, I'm not at all surprised that they don't think it's viable.